Hey guys, Mustang here bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so we are here to talk about the Super Vegeta banner that is going to be dropping soon on Global. By the time this video goes up, if you're watching it straight away, the banner's probably going to be something like 4 or 5 hours away, 6 hours away, something like that. So we're going to talk about the banner, whether it's worth summoning on, all the options that you guys have available, and the units themselves. So the first thing that we should talk about, I did make a video about this the other day. Obviously, it has been data mined that Global will be getting a Dokkan Festival ticket pack again. This is the one that you buy from the shop. So obviously, unfortunately, for free-to-play players, not an option. But if you're somebody who spends money on the game, these things are usually worth getting. The last few that we've seen in a row have pretty much all been the same thing, where the ticket pack just gives you a multi on the banner that is a guaranteed featured unit. So obviously there will be people out there who will get lucky and their guaranteed featured unit will be Super Vegeta. And then I guess, to be fair, there's probably going to be people out there who are going to be insanely lucky and they're going to get Super Vegeta as their guaranteed featured and potentially pull multiple copies of him in that multi, or even some of the other featured units, because of course it's just guaranteed featured at the end, but who knows what else is going to happen in the rest of the multi. So if you're somebody who does spend, it can be worth getting. I've pulled the new featured unit once, at least once before. I think it was when Bojack came out. For the Tech, Kale and Caulifla one, I actually got Kabe, so technically I did get one of the new units, but unfortunately it was in Kabe. But yeah, they're going to be worth picking up. Now, the one thing we do have to wonder is whether or not the banner is going to have discounts. That is something that Global has been doing a lot recently. We did see discounted steps with guaranteed featured for Tech, Kale and Caulifla. But I talked about this a little bit during that 24-hour World Tournament stream when people were asking about the banners and stuff. I feel like sometimes they give these discounts to the banners that they feel are a little bit less hype because they want to encourage people to summon. Whereas I feel like they know that everybody's hyped for Super Vegeta, because not only is he, basically he comes out and he's the best TUR on Global, but he's the 170 Pure Saiyan leader, so he's a unit that people have been waiting for a long time for a multitude of reasons. So I feel like they know that even if they don't do any discounts, people would still summon. So hopefully we will get them, but it isn't guaranteed. If we do get them, I usually advise that, you know, even if you were thinking about skipping, like if they do discounted multis where it's like 100 stones and you get 3 multis instead of the 2 that you would normally get, that is probably worth doing for pretty much everyone if you have the stones to spare. So in terms of the banner itself, obviously we have the Vegeta, we have the new STR second form Cell, then we have the return of Int Broly. So Int Broly released on Saiyan Day last year, which was in March, and then due to various reschedulings and shuffling that Global often does, this is going to be his first return in 10 months outside of the Step Up banner. So the Step Up banner units are not available with red coins, so unless you summoned on the Step Up banner, this is going to be your first option to pick him up if you've been saving red coins for him. I feel like there's no way they take him off the banner just because he hasn't been available in all this time. So he's still really good. I think he's underrated. Bojack is still a really strong unit. Space Traveling Warriors is obviously a ridiculous team. And then we've got Beerus, the Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta, and Physical Transforming Vegeta. So STR Super Vegeta, Pure Saiyan's lead, as well as the new category Mastered Evolution. Mastered Evolution, I feel like it has potential for the future, but a lot of the good units on it are Pure Saiyans anyway. So I feel like you're probably just going to be running like a Pure Saiyans team with this guy. But 3 key, HP 130, attack and defense 170, does immense damage and gets a guaranteed crit. So I've talked about this multiple times, but I cannot stress it enough. Do not give this guy any crit in the hidden potential system. Because he's an STR unit, he has to have level 5 crit. And then all the rest should go into additional, and whatever's left over should go into dodge. Because he's going to crit 100% of the time. So giving him crit in his hidden potential is a complete waste of time, basically. The only time you would ever see that being effective is if he can't super attack for some reason. But obviously on most teams, especially if you've got him with a good link partner, you're pretty much never going to miss a super attack with him, so it's just completely wasted. Now, his passive is attack and defense 150, he gets an additional 50% when performing a super, and then he gets an additional 50% again within the same turn after receiving an attack. So if he gets hit first in slot 1, he gets an extra 50% attack and defense. So what this means, of course, is when he takes the first hit, he is going to take a little bit more damage because then his defense jumps up by 50%. So the one downside, the one bad situation you can get into is if he's taking 1 or 2 or more hits in slot 1 and the first one is a super attack, then obviously he eats that before he gets the defense buff. So he can potentially take quite a lot of damage. But if you've got like a scouter effect active, or if the enemy's sealed or anything like that, then obviously he's going to take that first hit. Maybe even in tougher content, maybe he takes a little bit more damage, like 20, 30, 40k. But then with that extra buff, it's going to drop right down to potentially even being double digits. So, and of course, the other benefit is he's then getting an extra 50% attack. So he's going to do even more damage. Now, you can use him in slot 2 or 3, depending on how you've built your team, because he's still got 150 in base and then an additional 50 when he super attacks. So he's still going to be hitting a reasonable attack stat. And when you couple that with the guaranteed crit, then obviously he's still going to be doing good damage. And then he has an active skill that gives him 5 ki and 50% attack for 1 turn. Obviously, ideally, you really want to try and use this on a turn where he is going to get hit in slot 1. So he's getting that buff and the active skill buff. But you can use it when your HP is 50% or more starting from the 5th turn. Or if you're fighting against an enemy whose name includes Cell and you've already taken 1 attack. There's not many places where you can really use this. So in a lot of Super Battle Road, for example, you probably won't ever get to use this because it's turn 5. Or if you do, it'll basically just be a nice little finisher for the fight. So he's got a really good link set. I'm not going to go on and on about him, but just I'm super hyped for him. I really want to pull him. I think he's worth summoning for. Yeah, I'm very, very excited. So the new side banner unit is this STR second form Cell. He's an Android / Cell Saga leader for 3 ki and 130 to stats. He greatly raises attack for 1 turn and does supreme damage with his super attack. He has 80% defense start of turn, and then he gets an additional attack and defense 180% when performing a super attack. So he does have some defense, but obviously he's not really ideal to be like a slot 1 unit. He has a chance to perform a crit, 18% and 18% damage reduction when there is an Android / Cell Saga category enemy, which it's not super common, but there are a few events in that way you can get this. He also has a high chance to stun all enemies when there is an enemy whose name includes Android. So again, there's not many events where this is going to be super useful, but potentially in the future, who knows. And then he is, of course, an Android / Cell Saga Extreme Class Allies support unit for 3 ki and 40%. So on some teams, he's going to be really, really good for support. But even without the support, I mean, 180% attack, and then, what is that, 260 defense after he's supered. So his defense is potentially going to be really, really good. And then with that Android / Cell Saga enemy, he's got a little bit of damage reduction as well. So he's really solid. I definitely don't think it's worth summoning specifically for him, but he's definitely a very good unit. Hopefully I do manage to pull him along the way, but obviously Super Vegeta is the main goal. Now for the other units, Int Broly, like we said, hasn't returned until now, apart from the Step Up banner. Planetary Destruction or Movie Bosses is a very good leader skill. 3 ki, HP 130, attack and defense 170. I really like him. I think he's underrated. I think he's a great unit. I think his team's really fun. He infinitely stacks attack and defense. He has a chance to do multiple super attacks. If you're fighting against a pure Saiyan or hybrid Saiyan, he gets a little bit of extra damage reduction and crit chance. So he's got actually really solid damage reduction and crit, because it's 18% damage reduction and crit chance, and then an extra 18% damage reduction and crit chance against a pure Saiyan or hybrid Saiyan, although that is after supering. So post super, in a lot of events in the game, he's got 36% damage reduction on top of the fact that he's infinitely stacking his defense, and he can super attack with dupes. So if you have additional in his hidden potential, he can potentially super attack 4 times in 1 turn. That has only ever happened to me once, where all 4 attacks have been supers, but he has attacked 4 times for me quite a lot. Now, if you do get that God RNG, he has an active skill, which can only be activated once he has super attacked 4 or more times. So, technically, you can achieve that in slot 1. It's just incredibly, turn 1. It's just incredibly uncommon. But chances are, you're going to have achieved it by the end of his 2nd appearance. And when you use his active skill, he gets 6 ki, 60% extra attack, and attacks effective against all types for 1 turn. So if you wait until he's stacked up quite a bit to use this, then obviously he's going to be doing insane damage. So I think he's really, really good. If you don't have him, it's worth probably doing a couple of summons, especially if there's discounts, just to try and get him. or I would say he is probably worth picking up with red coins if you don't have him and you think you will use him, because I think he's great still. Bojack, obviously he's a bit older, he's been around a few times, but Space Traveling Warriors and Time Travelers is still a really strong leader skill. So I think he's really good. He's good as a support unit because he supports his own category, Space Traveling Warriors. He raises defense on super attack. So even if you're building some crazy Space Traveling Warriors team with like LR Full Power Freezer, LR Turles, all those kind of units, you can just use him as a third slot floating support unit and he's still very effective. Physical Beerus, he's outdated now. Yeah, he's one of the worst units on the banner for sure. I've never really been super hyped about him even when he first came out, because obviously he's a Realm of Gods leader, but most of the time you're building your Realm of Gods team around Saiyans or Fusions, which he doesn't link very well with. So sadly, I mean, all these Dokkan Fest banners, we always have a couple of these older units that aren't so good, and Beerus is one of them. Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta is probably considered one of them as well. I do think he's underrated. I do like this unit, but he definitely has dropped off a little bit. Like once you transform, you need to get 6 orbs in order for him to guard. And if you do that, he can be really good, even in harder content. His attack stats never really get to anything too crazy, especially when compared to newer TURs. But I still think he's a really good unit. And obviously he's going to link up well with the Vegeta. They're obviously not going to change him or the next unit because the Vegeta is, the banner is Vegeta themed. And then the last unit is Physical Transforming Vegeta. Now, before a lot of you out there groan, one thing you have to think about, obviously, if you haven't rainbowed already, then yeah, you do not want to see this guy whatsoever. But if you're a newer player, whilst this guy is quite outdated now, like he was the best Pure Saiyans lead that we had, but as a unit, he's quite outdated. But Transforming Goku and Transforming Frieza got their Easy A's a little while ago, and they are both ridiculously good post Easy A. So if you don't have this guy, or maybe you have him but with no dupes, and you do summon on this banner and you pull a copy or two of him, at some point in the next, like, well, this year, I guess, because we're now already in 2022, at some point this year, he probably is going to get his Easy A, and then potentially he's going to be really good. So he's like a future investment more so than anything. So unless you're somebody like me who literally doesn't need any more copies, don't necessarily be too disappointed if you do pull a copy of this guy along the way to pulling Super Vegeta. So this is the banner. I don't think it's going to change just because of who's on it and the way the schedule has changed recently. I do think the banner is worth summoning on, especially if we have discounts. But the one thing you do need to think about is obviously the Step Up banner came out. 200 stones for each rotation. You get 2 guaranteed LRs. The major difference is you are guaranteed to get stuff on that banner. Whereas obviously this banner, you could drop 200, 400 stones and not pull like any of the featured units. That is absolutely possible. But one thing I would say to think about is the Step Up banner is on until pretty much the end of January. So I think it's worth waiting to see whether this Vegeta banner does have discounts, does see if the lineup changes or anything like that, and then you can make the decision of whether you maybe want to try doing the discounts if there are some, or even if there's not, doing a couple of multis just to see if you can get lucky and pull Super Vegeta, and then you could go back to the Step Up banner. So I definitely think that's worth bearing in mind, but I think this banner is worth summoning on. For me, the Step Up banner doesn't hold much value, so I haven't touched it at all, and I will be going all in for Super Vegeta. So let me know what you guys think down below. Are you going to be summoning for him? I know a lot of people out there have been super hyped for him to come to Global, so I imagine a lot of you, like me, are armed and ready with your stones to go all in and pull this guy. Obviously I only have so many stones to spend, but I'm really hoping to get not only pull him, but at least get a dupe or two so we can get some of those paths unlocked, because been waiting for this unit to come out for quite a while. So let me know what you guys think down below, and keep an eye out on the channel. I will be streaming summons when the banner comes out, so hopefully I will see you there. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.